Traveler, get ready to level up in fantasy football.
What is happening, everybody? Thank you for joining us on another episode of the Fantasy Football RPG Podcast. We're live streaming. It's happening. First live stream ever. And I am excited to be here sitting down with my good buddies, FF Mike Cash. Mike Kashuba, how you doing, buddy?
I'm great. Excited to be here. Let's talk some football.
Yes, that is what we are here to do. Eric is also joining us, a corn dog on sleeper. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, Corey. I am barely awake, but ready to talk some football.
Well, I will. I'll just yell into the microphone a lot to wake you up. How about that?
Correct.
All right. And last but not least, we got Evan Lowe in the house. EP Lowe on sleeper. How you doing, Evan?
Doing pretty good. It's been a long day, so I've been known for falling asleep in 10 seconds, so I may do this. We'll see.
I will give a $10 charity donation if we get Evan asleep on the pod. I will. I think that'll be classic entertainment for our brand. But I'm excited to get into it, guys. Excited to be on YouTube live streaming. I see one eyeball, so we at least have one person looking at us, which is very interesting and fun. But yeah, guys, let's get into things here with a little bit of a cold open question that I had, a very cold one on a hot summer day. It felt appropriate to ask you all this because I don't know. I don't know if you guys get down on the iced cream, but I am an iced cream lover. And personally, I just want to know everyone's favorite ice cream flavor. Mike, do you have a favorite you'd like to shout out?
I would love to. Mint chocolate chip. It's delightful. It gives a little like minty flavor to cool off in addition to the ice. Do you call it iced cream or ice cream?
I think it's ice cream, but iced cream just sounded fancier. So that's just, it kind of rolled off my tongue like that.
I feel like if I was in Europe, it'd be called iced cream, but
I think, that sounds right.
Mint chocolate chip. Eric, what you got?
I do enjoy some mint chocolate chip. That's way up there for me. But I think if I had to pick a favorite, it would probably be cotton candy. I got hooked on those like cotton candy Dippin' Dots, and now they have ice cream that's the exact flavor of it without it being Dippin' Dot form, and it's super good.
Dippin' Dots is goated. It's a very, very good ice cream treat. It is strange, though, that I think, it's been around for like 30 years, but it's always been like the ice cream of the future. And it's still like, is it still the ice cream of the future? Because it hasn't changed.
We are in the future and consuming it, so I would assume it is still the ice cream of the future.
Got me on a technicality. Yep, I guess you're right. Evan, what about you, man? You're not a secret lactose intolerant, are you?
Nope, not at all.
Good.
Very, very much enjoy my strawberry milkshakes and strawberry ice cream without chunks in it. No chunky strawberry ice cream. It's got to be smooth strawberry ice cream.
Did you know that strawberry used to be flavored through arsenic?
I don't know, but if that's the case, give me all the arsenic and I will have a short life, but I will enjoy it.
There are those things, right? I mean, it's just like whiskey, we all shouldn't be drinking it, but who's going to stop us?
Evan, if you were drinking a milkshake and did not know there were chunks and you got chunks, would that be a top 5 worst day of your life moment?
Oh, I would 100% ask the waitress for a new one.
Throw a fit right then and there.
No, I'm not going to throw a fit. I'm going to very politely say, hey, you screwed up this milkshake. I would like a new one, please.
I can always count on you for being very direct but polite. So good on you. My favorite, it might make me sound a little childish, but I really get down on a good rainbow sherbet. I like the fruit flavors. I'm known for my taste in fruity beers, and it translates well to ice cream. There's a specific one from Baskin Robbins called Wild and Reckless that's like blue raspberry and strawberry and green apple, and that's just check. I will take all of the sherbet.
That sounds like a boy band album name for the hottest summer of 2015.
What's funny is I remember distinctly when this ice cream came out because it was a promo ice cream for the movie Stallion of the something, like it was this animated movie about a horse, and they came out with it and it had Pop Rocks in it, and it was called Wild and Reckless. And I thought it was dumb, but then I tried it and I'm like, I mean, it's dumb, but it's tasty. And ever since then, it's been a go-to for me.
So
are you 100% sure that was not a fever dream?
I am 90% sure it was not. There's a 10% chance. I mean, I've had some pretty crazy fever dreams, so it could be. I have some in my fridge, though, so it does exist. But ice cream flavors aside, I want to talk about someone that looked iced cold in the last preseason game that we had on Monday here, guys. Ravens v. Commanders. And Sam Howell was looking frosty out there against those second and third teamers from the Ravens. You guys catch any of that? You see any of those absolute lasers that Howell was tossing out there?
I did. You brought up a great point. The first quarter, they scored 3 points against the starters, and then the Commanders kept in their entire first-team offense as the Ravens took out their starters because they're in the preseason and they're trying to figure out what's going on with their life. But the Commanders treated it like their Super Bowl. So Sam Howell looked great in the second quarter against corners that I could not name.
Well, breaking that 24 game streak had to feel pretty good, even though it was preseason. The Ravens lose that 24 streak, so that's rough. Meanwhile, we had a very unfortunate, because they kept their starters out there, very unfortunate Terry McLaurin injury. Caught a little bit of that turf toe, which I don't like that at all. I don't have a ton of Terry McLaurin, but the shares I do have, that's not what I like. Those can linger. Those can take weeks to get over. Not a fan. Evan, did you catch any of it? Eric, did you catch any of the preseason? You watch any of that? You see any Justice Hill out there?
I only caught the highlights of it. I did not get a chance to watch it last night, but I could tell that Sam Howell was playing very well because I got multiple offers of Sam Howell for multiple first-round picks in different leagues. And I was like, he must be playing very well tonight because this came out of nowhere.
Yeah. Well, like Mike mentioned and I mentioned, he was mostly playing against second and third teamers from the Ravens, who don't really have a great defense to begin with their ones. So like second, third team, probably not very good either. But he did look good. You know, we shall see. But I think we'll talk a little bit more Sam Howell a little later in the episode when we get to our bold, spicy takes, not to spoil anything. But let's keep moving along here. Because we had some other pretty significant news. Probably the top of the charts here was the Jonathan Taylor getting permission to seek a trade from the Colts organization, even though Jim Irsay said, ain't no way we trade Jonathan Taylor. Seems like, yes, there is way that we might trade Jonathan Taylor if a team will give us a first or equivalent to a first. Evan, we've been kind of going back and forth about whether or not this will happen. I've just been, reminding you about certain things I've been seeing that you've obviously been seeing too, with like, the Dolphins are expected to explore a trade, and the Vikings might be a good fit. You are pretty firmly in the camp, though, I think, of Jonathan Taylor's going to be a Colt, right?
Yeah, I mean, I still think he's going to be a Colt. I don't think they're going to get anywhere close to what they want for him. And if you look at the compensation for next year, I mean, I would assume they're going to want more than that. If the rumors are true that they want a first for him, I think that's absolutely ridiculous. And I don't see him getting traded for anything more than a second. And I even think that's a pipe dream at this point.
Yeah, I saw someone out there say maybe they include Devon A-Chain and give him in a second for JT, which I think is a little silly, seeing as they just drafted A-Chain. But, all likelihood, we can have fun predicting all we want. You're probably right. Like, realistically speaking, a team will have to trade for him, give up capital, and then also pay him, which is tough to do in this kind of market. Anyone else see any rumblings, though, about, are we kind of all on the camp, actually, of he's probably going to be a Colt? That's the most likely situation? Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, we can move on from that just because, it was important to mention, but I don't think there's a lot to talk about. We will move on to a very important piece of fake news that I read earlier that Baker Mayfield was named the starter for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, that kid, like, obviously there's some sort of irreputable organization floating that out. You know, they don't have anything to back that up, I'm sure. Oh, it came from the Bucks. Huh. Well, no matter. I mean, Baker will definitely be benched, like, you know, first half of the first game, and Kyle Trask will come in, reign supreme, as is his right. Any dissenters? No? Great. Let's move on. Last kind of piece of big news here that I really didn't want to see happen, but happened, as it seems to happen every single year for the Seattle Seahawks. Our first round draft pick is injured. Yay. I think this is like a 4-year streak. I can like name back, I think, going on 4 years, our first round draft picks that got injured in like the preseason or very early on in the season. Kind of par for the course, but it sucks, man. I mean, I'm looking at the Hawks rookies right now. Most of them are injured. Most of them. Like our other first round rookie, Witherspoon, injured. Hasn't played any preseason. Now JSN breaks his wrist, got surgery today. Expected back for week 1 is what I read, but I don't think so. Maybe if it's like a scope or something, but if he broke a wrist bone, I'm not expecting him back for a couple weeks into the season, which really, really just sucks. I was very excited for our trio of wide receivers, but now it seems like that is in turmoil, and I am sad. And that is why I will be drinking too many beers tonight. Cheers. But yeah, that is kind of all of the news I scoped out. I don't know if you guys saw anything else, any preseason hype you wanted to spread the word on. Eric, you got something for us?
Just on the JSN point, I think it was pretty well pushed that he's probably going to be back for week 1. I just thought this was interesting. I like usually stream the Rich Eisen show when I'm at work. I'll just have it in like my earbud and listen to it as I'm working. And Peter King was on, and what he does is he goes to a whole bunch of the training camps every year, and usually has some pretty good insights because he goes to the practices and sees what they're doing. And they asked him what his biggest takeaway was so far this year. And he said, I'm surprised I'm saying this, but JSN for the Seahawks is going to be a problem for the rest of the league. He said he could not believe how good and elite he looked in practice, and that he already knew he was good, but to see how good he looked against other Seahawks players in practice, he said he's going to be special. So, I mean, we can all take that as we will, but for that to be his,
I'll take it as gospel, man. I'm with you.
I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, I obviously follow the Seahawks news beat maybe a little closer than everyone else here because I am in Seattle and I am a fan. And yeah, all I have seen is amazing catches by JSN, separation, athletic plays, constant hype, constant positivity. I think he's going to be super special. I'm very, very excited for him.
What are the odds he's wide receiver 1 on the Seahawks by the end of this year?
I still think it's DK. I still think it's DK. I think he's poised to take Tyler Lockett's spot though, like as of next year. I kind of see that in the cards. Tyler Lockett sort of takes a step back. Jason steps into the role, and there's kind of like a 1A, 1B to DK and JSN next year.
Do you guys want to know who has scored more fantasy points every year that DK Metcalf has been in the league between DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett?
Tyler Lockett.
Every single year. So inheriting that role is maybe he doesn't look like the wide receiver 1. Maybe he doesn't have a 6-pack abs and Skittles, but
wide receiver 1. Look, I'll give you this. Wide receiver 1 on the team, I think, is Metcalf in terms of the looks and the progressions. JSN could be the wide receiver 1 on the Seahawks from a dynasty or just fantasy perspective. I could very well see that. I think he'll be a target hog. I think he'll be super efficient. I think he'll take slot snaps. So yeah, I count me super excited. It sucks that he broke his freaking wrist in the preseason. I saw the screenshot of the play that had happened. It sucks. Like he just literally lands on his wrist in a bad way. It just sucked. Going back, I mean, we had JSN, and then last year we had D. Eskridge. Year before that, I think it was Marquise Blair or something, like a first round safety. I think we had, and then year before that was Penny, and they'd all get hurt every single year with the Hawks. So it sucks. You'd think I'd get used to it by now, right? Like the pain would dull. It hasn't dulled. It still hurts. I still don't like it.
If you're a big fan of a player coming out of college in the NFL, is there a worse place they could land than Seattle because they're probably going to get hurt?
Yeah. I mean, they could land on the Browns.
No.
Just had to torch the Browns a little bit there. But okay. Well, I'm excited to get into the big chunk of this episode with you guys, because we're going to kind of play around in Eric's domain and give you all some super hot and spicy takes. I'm very excited. I put together a couple extra ones just in case these guys have similar takes to me. I can sort of pivot and not have to double up. But very excited to hear what you guys have to say. And look, I mean, Take Master himself, the spicy general. I want to hear Eric's first spicy take first. Eric, throw it down.
I am all about the hot and spicy takes, hot and spicy poops, whatever you need. But my very first one, I'm going to start a little bit easy, is I have a really, really good feeling about this guy. And I thought he was going to be one of the top wide receivers coming out of college. And then unfortunately, the cancer diagnosis happened. And he seems to be coming back very, very well. I've liked what I've seen. And I think there's a great shot that John Mechie is going to be a possible wide receiver 3 flex play this year. By the end of the year, he's going to end up in that kind of realm. I really like what I've seen. He's got a new quarterback, so he can hopefully develop some chemistry. I mean, I know Nico Collins is also there. Is Brandon Cook still there? No.
Cowboys.
That's correct. Cowboys. Thank you. But I really like the talent and upside of John Mechie, and I could absolutely see him finishing this year as a wide receiver 3 flex play.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I think that's what you're hoping if you do have Mechie. If you drafted him, wide receiver 3 was what you kind of had in mind as his floor. I mean, he's a first round guy, right? Mm-hmm. If not for the cancer, we would probably be already talking him praises just based off the talent alone, and whether or not he can take another step with CJ Stroud. But he kind of loses that year, and now it's a little bit more questionable. But I like it. I think there's definitely a chance for him there. Rookie QBs, as Mike has pointed out several times and wrote an article about that he brings up all the time. Rookie QBs don't do well supporting their casts for their rookie season, just generally speaking. But, if all you're banking on is a flex or wide receiver play, which I think, like I said, is kind of hopefully his floor here, I could dig it. I'm with it. I think he's probably the most talented wide receiver on the team.
Mm-hmm. And I think this is the last chance you have to get him cheap.
What do you think? I mean, ballpark, what would you send to go get Mechie?
I mean, I'm pretty high on him, but I would probably send a late second. Try to get him for that.
Yeah, that's bold. I think that could have been your bold take, is you should go and spend a late second on John Mechie.
I could do that.
Bold and spicy. I like it. Okay. Well, let's move to Evan. Evan, do you want to give your first bold and spicy take?
Yeah, so my first bold take is that Chris Olave will finish with the most air yards in football this year.
Oh, wow.
So you look at him, he's getting a new quarterback in Carr. He led the Saints in targets last year. He's getting a questionably healthy Michael Thomas back to potentially divert some coverage from him. And you look at the fact that he only got 119 targets last year, which I'm projecting closer to 145, 150 this year. And on top of that, he averaged 14.1 air yards per target last year, which was the most out of the top 10 wide receivers.
I like it. Yeah, that's a nice take. You backed it up. I like Chris Olave a lot. I actually I didn't think it was super bold, so I didn't include it. But I will say I think there's a very fair shot that he outscores Garrett Wilson this year. So yeah, I like it, dig it. Anyone else have a comment about Chris Olave before we move to Mike's?
I mean, are we sure that Derek Carr is an upgrade over Andy Dalton? Are we sure?
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure.
Are we sure?
Yes.
Andy Dalton
Come on, Mike.
at this stage, yeah. If it was Andy
Yeah.
Dalton 10 years ago, maybe more of a conversation. But right now, yeah, I would take Derek Carr over Andy Dalton.
I mean, Jameis Winston's going to be the quarterback by week 9 anyway, but that's
whoa,
fine.
is that your take?
No, that's just off the cuff.
All right, that's Mike's first spicy take. Now I'll go to mine.
That is now the heading of the episode.
Yeah,
no,
let
that's
me
not
put it
real,
as a banner
but-
real quick.
Yeah. Let's go with this one. So I love to say that rookie quarterbacks ruin their pass catchers. I like to say that rookie tight ends don't matter. I'm going to go against that second one. I think there are 2 rookie tight ends that finish in the top 12 this season. I can't tell you which 2 it will be between Musgrave, Laporta, Michael Mayer. I haven't even mentioned everyone's heartthrob Kincaid, but I think there are 2 of them that could sneak into the top 12. And I think 3 of those guys are going outside the top 12 in your drafts right now. So yeah, take a swing on a rookie tight end because they're coming in more polished. They're coming in as better receivers. Like all of them went to situations that love to feed their tight end the ball. Like Las Vegas had Darren Waller before this. The Lions had Hawkinson, and they had the most tight ends touchdowns last year, even after Hawkinson left. Like these are systems that are going to feed them, and then Kincaid got the first round draft capital. So take a swing. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, I think that directly coincides with what I truly believe. I mean, this was just such a great class for tight end, man. Like so many good tight ends. So I think it's a good bet to make just based on like where are you missing? Like even go as far down as like a Darnell Washington, and it's still still interesting. If Freiermuth gets hurt, like Washington has some serious upside there just with his physicality and his physical traits. So yeah, take a swing. I like that. That's a good one. Out of those guys, is Kincaid your number 1 rookie tight end, Mike?
He's number 1 out of the group, but I think when we're talking about them compared to their cost, like what happened that Michael Mayer died? Like
thank you.
He was everyone's baby doll. He's going to the Raiders with Mike McDaniel.
Thank you.
Or not Mike
Thank
McDaniel,
you.
Josh McDaniels, who
Yes.
didn't he coach some guy named Gronk? Love to feed him the ball.
Yeah, he did some rookie tight ends.
That happened at some point.
Yeah.
He loves to feed his tight ends the ball. Jimmy G just came from San Francisco and loved to give Kittle the ball. Like, there's a lot of opportunity for Michael Mayer to own this offense.
Yeah, I'm completely with you. And honestly, I think my second guy might be Laporta, and then Kincaid maybe like directly under that. But yeah, Michael Mayer, I'm still like draft capital aside, man. I mean, it usually doesn't matter that much for tight ends. Like just consistently, it seems like these guys show up even if they're taken in later rounds. So I'm still on Mayer. I still think he can be a focal point. I mean, they have Adams and really nothing else there in Vegas. But yeah, Eric, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, real quick, sorry. Mayer is not Gronk by any means. I'm saying
Well,
that
I thought you-
offense.
Wasn't that your take? Is that Mayer's the second coming of Gronk? Is that what you said?
Yeah. No, I'm just saying that Mayer is playing in a system that likes to emphasize their tight ends, whether it's Waller, Gronk, insert name here. Even Foster Moreau looked like a thing for a while. So
that's I was gonna say that's a pretty spicy take comparing Michael Mayer to the best tight end to ever grace the football field in existence ever. Non-debatable. So I actually really like the 2 tight ends in the top 12 take a lot. And I think long term, I think Kincaid personally is probably the best talent and the one I'm most excited about in the future. But if I'm going for like this year, I really like Laporta in Detroit.
Mhm.
I think that's a great landing spot for him. I think Goff's going to feed him the ball. I'm really excited about Laporta being one of those 2 in the top 12. I don't think Kincaid will be this year, but I think down the road, if Knox moves along and he gets good chemistry with Allen, he could be the best one of the crew. But for this year, I like Laporta a lot.
Yeah, Laporta's been getting so much praise. I know it's obviously camp hype buzz. Maybe none of it matters, but every time I see Lions camp news out there, it's like Sam Laporta looked amazing again. Sam Laporta is doing awesome stuff again. So I'm very excited about him. I also agree. I think he got put in a great situation. Fills that TJ Hawkinson void. I like the take. Keeping it to tight ends and seeing as you did mention him, Mike, I will give my first bold and spicy take here. And I will say that Darren Waller will be a top 3 tight end in fantasy this year. I love the dichotomy between Brian Dable and getting his quarterback a high-powered weapon and that quarterback taking a second step and that high-powered weapon looking awesome. I'm not trying to sit here and compare Darren Waller to Stephon Diggs, but they should both be the target. I mean, Stephon Diggs was the target leader, the wide receiver 1. I think Darren Waller will be that for Daniel Jones. And Mike, with all of your love and hype for Daniel Jones, I mean, I'm right there with you. I also really like Daniel Jones. I've always kind of said that he's sort of the poor man's Josh Allen. Even before Dable went to New York, I was saying that because of that sneaky rushing upside and that big arm. And I think that Darren Waller eclipses all the other pass catchers on this team. He'll be a target hog. We'll see Darren Waller, return to form back when he was in that conversation with Andrews and Kelsey. As long as he stays healthy, which that's kind of what I'm betting on here with this take, is that he will stay healthy and play most of the games. If he does, he will be a top 3 tight end in fantasy football.
I like it. I mean, there's clearly at the top, we still have Kelsey and Andrews, though, right? Or are you saying there's a chance Andrews falters? Hawkinson?
I'm saying that I don't think he'll be number 1, but I think he could be number 2. I think he'll be either 2 or 3.
I'll buy that for a nickel.
Awesome. Well then, let us go ahead and bring it to our second takes, and we'll just go around the horn the same way. Eric, why don't you go ahead and throw it down?
All right, we're about to get a little more spicy up in here. Not quite.
Is it ramping up? Is like a ghost pepper? It like ramps up in heat?
Almost. Ghost pepper is going to be the last one. But this is probably the one I feel the most sketchy about, but the one I could really see it happening too, is I could see Miles Sanders on the Carolina Panthers being an RB1 top 10 running back this year. I really like that offensive line that they have in Carolina. They have a rookie quarterback with a smart head coach, which I think will want to run the ball a lot and keep it away, not have to let Bryce Young take too many hits, protect him a little bit this year. Also, he's reuniting with another Eagles coach, which is the coach that he had the most catches for in his career in one season, which I believe was 50 his rookie season with the Eagles, if I'm correct. I just really like the upside there. I mean, I know there's I can't think of his name off the top of my head. The other running back who's there, Chuba Hubbard. Chuba. I'm just not really sold on him being anything super special, and I think they paid Miles Sanders enough in what is this running back market or whatever they're paying for running backs nowadays, that he will be a featured player. And I think Miles Sanders also has a chip on his shoulder that he wants to prove that he can be a top flight running back. I'm not saying he is him, but I remember going into last season, Josh Jacobs was looked at very lowly and a lot of people didn't think he was anything great. And then he went out and led the league in rushing. I'm not saying Miles Sanders is going to lead the league in rushing, but can he be a top 10 fantasy running back? I think so.
No, he cannot.
Incorrect.
There is no world where Sanders is going to be able to be a top 10 running back, because you're looking at it. The offensive line was allegedly good. If you've watched any of this preseason, they're an absolute disaster. This is a dumpster fire of an offensive line with a small quarterback that's not athletic enough to make it happen, with a coaching staff that is doing their best to piece together this offense. But right now it looks like an incohesive unit with no upside. I'm completely out on the Panthers offense. I'm completely out on the Panthers team. If you're making bets for last place in the NFC South, it's the Carolina Panthers. Book it now.
I really don't appreciate you saying that after you just traded me DJ Chark, Mike.
Shoot or shoot.
Although I gave you the plotter dud that is Gabe Davis, so you win some, you lose some. Okay, yeah, I mean, I think that Eric's right though in terms of like volume. I think that Miles Sanders will get some serious volume there because the pass catching is so bad. Who do they have? They have a very mediocre wide receiver room. So Miles Sanders could get like panic screens and dump offs and be fed the ball just in terms of like they can't make anything else work. But as Mike said, if that O-line is a disaster, what is the volume going to really lead to?
And it's the volume, and then also like, is there any touchdown upside in this offense? Like they're going to play against Atlanta, who's going to that game is going to go 4 series long because they're both going to run 2 15-minute drives and end the game. They play the Saints, who's going to run up the score on them early, and then nothing's going to happen the rest of the game. Like it's just not a good situation for anybody.
I'll also say though, like the Panthers have a pretty decent defense, right? Like they have some playmakers there, and if they can keep games like kind of on that side of things where the defense is sort of stopping the other team from scoring a lot of points, maybe all they really need to do is pound the ball with Miles Sanders, and maybe that's how it works out. Maybe Miles Sanders is good enough to overcome the terrible O-line.
And Mike also
I'm not betting on it, but it could happen.
Mike forgot to mention that once the Buccaneers bench Baker halfway through the first game, they will go 17-0 from there on out, led by the GOAT Kyle Trask. So
you said 17.
Once he's benched 17-0.
So he's getting benched within the first quarter.
Correct.
Of
so
the first
then
game.
they will continue to win the game and go forward. But Mike, since you're so out on Miles Sanders, will you water bet that Miles Sanders top 20 running back this year in fantasy?
Top 20?
Yeah, you hate him so much. He has no shot at top 10.
I'll do 18.
What is it?
I'll do 18.
18? Deal. Sold.
We're going to have to compile these freaking water bets that everyone's making. I have no earthly clue how many are out floating around there that we've made. Yeah, I'm going to write this one down.
If we have any listeners that want to go back and double check for us, I think there's Devontae Adams in there somewhere. There's Gibbs in there somewhere.
Bryce versus Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, that one's you can drink the water now. That's over.
Garbage. Wait, is it drink the water? Wait, how do these water bets work? Because we've never actually gone through with one. Is it drinking water? Because that kind of sucks. I thought it was like you dump water on your head.
We could do you have to mail the other person liquid death.
That's okay. That's interesting. I like that.
Because they killed you in the bet?
Yeah, I can
water bet brought to you by Liquid Death. If you work at Liquid Death, give us a call.
If we can get that sponsorship, then that's definitely what we'll do. But I also really like the idea of we have to like send the winner of the bet a video of someone dumping like a bucket of water on our heads.
We could make a alternate Twitter page too called the Water Bet Board for the Fantasy Football RPG Podcast, where we just tweet out whenever we make water bets so people can keep up with them too.
That's a great idea, Eric. Thank you for taking that responsibility on. I'm looking forward to seeing you make that. Okay, well, let's go ahead. And that was a good one to talk about at the very least. So appreciate you, Eric. Let's move to Evan's second spicy hot take.
All right, so my spicy hot take is Tua plays every game this year and finishes with a top 3 passing yard season.
Wow. Are you banking on the taekwondo, the judo?
I mean, look, he's beefed up and hopefully he's learning how to fall. And part of me just thinks he's had so much bad luck. Eventually it's got to turn around, right? And it's supposed to be spicy hot, so it's pretty hot down in Miami from what I hear.
Okay. Yeah. I like it. Maybe would help to stay a little bit more on his feet if they had like an all-pro running back right behind him, right? Like a Jonathan Taylor.
No. That makes no sense because that would take away from his passing volume. He needs to throw the ball 50 times a game. That's just how that offense operates.
Well, what if they trade for Jonathan Taylor and just use him as a pass blocker?
Corey, I need to kick you from this.
No,
But
you can't.
regardless.
I have all the power. You can't.
Regardless, Tyreek projected 1,900 yards. Waddle projected 1,400 yards. Rest of the team, 1,400 yards. That puts him at a 4,700 yard season.
Yeah. I mean, I just made, to your credit, I just made a trade to go get Tyreek Hill because I think that he's saying 2,000. I think he'll get close. I'm with it. I'm aboard the Tua train. I've taken him in a number of leagues because the upside is just so tantalizing. If he can do it, if he can play most games, he's such a lock for like a QB1, like a high-end QB1. So I'm with it.
Well,
I like it.
And if he gets the contract extension, that locks in his dynasty value.
Yeah, I'm with you. Okay. Great. Let's move on to Mike's second spicy hot take.
How spicy do we want this?
Bruh, we are doing spicy hot takes. This is the bold take battle. You want it spicy as possible.
So there's an offense that I'm super in on right now. And you guys know this already.
The Steelers.
Well, there's two. Also, yes. I think that Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, and Quentin Johnston all finished top 24 in points per game. Because I think they're going to alternate injuries, which kind of gives me a little bit of an upside. But when we think about...
That's cheating. You can't do that.
So I said points per game. But when we talk about
cheating.
how good that offense is going to be and how it explodes, like I think Justin Herbert is going to make 5,000 yards look silly. He's already thrown for 5,000 yards once. Like now he adds a more creative offensive coordinator. He adds a first-round receiver. He is just going to absolutely crush all expectations on the Chargers this year. And I think all of his receivers will benefit. So I got 3 Chargers receivers in the top 24 points per game. Book it.
You are such a Herbert stan. It is so funny. You're in love with that guy.
What's not to love? He's young, contract extension, hot, contract extension, all sorts of good weapons. Herbert, if you're listening, shoot me your number. We can talk.
God, if we could get one person to do our intro for us, I would 100%. I would do $100 personally to do Justin Herbert.
Let me check Cameo when we're done.
I like that no one caught me on saying I would pay $100 to do Justin Herbert. Thank you for not mentioning that. Let's move on.
Well, you did. Anyway, what's your next take? At least we're not live.
I gotta get used to this whole live format thing. Okay, yes. My second spicy hot take. I got one that I like a lot. I hope it's spicy. I think it is. I think it'll shake some minds up here a little bit. I think that when you look at the dynasty wide receiver landscape, there's obviously, I mean, we've talked it a whole bunch. The top 2 guys in their own tier, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. I think there will be a third wide receiver entering that tier come the end of this fantasy football season. And his name is Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think by the end of the fantasy football season, Amon-Ra St. Brown will be the consensus wide receiver 3 in dynasty fantasy football. He is going to eat this year. Jameson Williams is a knucklehead, suspended, nothing. Jahmyr Gibbs should open things up because he is also going to be a problem. The Lions have a top 5, top 3 O-line, which is where Jared Goff thrives. And we've already seen it. We've already seen Amon-Ra be an absolute target monster on the Detroit Lions. And I think he will complete his ascendancy this season. I'm seeing 1,300 yards and 11 touchdowns from my man. What do we think?
I'm in. I have no feedback because I think that offense is going to be nasty. And St. Brown he's the only guy left standing at this point. So other than fighting for targets with Laporta, who will finish as a top 12 tight end to help me out, I think it makes a lot of sense. And I think that his draft capital has held off us putting him in that tier.
Yeah.
But 3 straight years of, he finished the back half of year 1 nasty, year 2 unstoppable. Now if he has a solid year 3, like throw him in the tier. Why not?
Praise the sun. Great. Anything else before we? Yep.
I was just going to say, as somebody who, I'm a Bears fan, so I watch the NFC North all the time. I'm used to not having giant offensive outputs from players that weren't the Packers, because it's usually a defensive-driven division. But across all 4 teams, no defense really stands out that's going to stop them. There's actually some pretty potent offenses in the NFC North this year. And I could absolutely see the Lions putting up huge offensive numbers just to keep up in games or probably outscore the other team in games, which I'm used to defensive slugfests. And it's actually going to be very weird for an NFC North fan this year.
Yeah. The Lions are like my second NFC team that I really, really, truly love. If I wasn't a Hawks fan, I'd probably be a Lions fan. But let's go ahead and it's Dan Campbell too. I love that dude. When I watched Hard Knocks last season, it was just like, oh, I love the Lions now. Okay. Bite some freaking kneecaps, dude. Let's take it back to the Spice General himself, Mr. Eric Watt, for your third and last spicy hot take.
All right. This one is the top.
Better be spicy.
The spicy of the spicy. I have been a fanboy for years of this player, and I think he is coming into a time of his own. He has a great talent, has been one of the top guys coming out of college. We've known about him 4 years. He lost 3 games in 7 total seasons as a starting quarterback and never lost on a Saturday until Patrick Mahomes beat him last year. He is the prince that has been promised. Trevor Lawrence will be the QB1 in all of fantasy this year, the top scoring player in fantasy, and the NFL MVP, with the Jaguars having the best record in the AFC. Book it. That's my pick.
So it's weird that Lawrence could do that while Herbert's doing it at the same time. So I'm trying to figure out how that is going to work together.
Yeah, I don't understand how Herbert and Lawrence are going to do it when Jalen Hurts is going to do it. So that's super weird.
And I don't know how they're all doing it when Kenny Pickett's doing it. So
all 3 of those guys can't do it and Geno Smith doing it. That would just be crazy.
Geno Smith wins comeback player of the year.
Ooh. Yeah.
There are 3 other divisions in AFC, and all of them are going to be beating each other up all year long. The Jaguars are the only team in the AFC South that are not total booty cheeks. And Trevor Lawrence might, in fact, be the only good QB in that division.
I do actually have reasonable feedback for this if you'd like it. How many rushing yards do you think Trevor Lawrence gets?
I could see Trevor Lawrence being somewhere in that 20 to 30 rushing yards a game, which isn't a ton. But I also could see him running in some touchdowns in the red zone. I think he's going to be throwing it all over the yard. I love his weapons this year. I think Ridley's going to come back strong. Kirk is a great wide receiver too, if Ridley comes back as a wide receiver 1. Engram's nothing to shake your nose at. I like him in the tight end slot. And then you have ETN doing burst plays, and he can also catch the ball too. I just think there's a ton of opportunity for Trevor Lawrence to put up stats this year. And they don't have a lot of competition holding them back in their division. And I think they can stack a lot of wins and a lot of points together.
He needs to either lead the league in touchdowns by a lot or rush for 500 or more yards. So I think you're really banking on the Ridley effect here, or T-Law just taking another step forward, which 100% available. He was the prince that was promised. So it's possible.
Kind of surprising. I would expect a lower number, but he did have 300 rushing yards last season. Trevor Lawrence did. So
if you even add 100 to that and another 10 to 15 touchdowns from him progressing in the offense improving.
Only had 25 passing touchdowns, so that's kind of the other part of the equation. But if he can double the touchdowns or double the rushing yards, then
if he can just have an outlier improvement, then we're in.
Okay, but if he can double the rushing yards and the passing touchdowns, Woo!
It's coming. The prince has been promised, and he has arrived.
That's cool that he'll still come in second to Herbert, but that's fine.
Well, how many rushing yards is Herbert going to get, Mike?
Rushing yards, I'm not worried about that because he's going to throw for 6,000 yards. It's
100 touchdowns, 6,000 yards.
6,000 yards, 75 touchdowns makes Peyton Manning's best season look like child's play.
Yeah, I mean, I like the take. I mean, I love some blinks. So I'm with you there, Eric, in terms of like, is there a 0% chance? No, I think it's more than a 0% chance. Yeah. He is, as you've said, the prince that was promised. I love using that colloquial from Game of Thrones, even though it's a trash series, still a good book, but incomplete. And the TV show was absolute garbage town, but we can reuse Prince That Was Promised for our own purposes, and it's now Trevor Lawrence's nickname.
I do think that. Oh shoot! What was I going to say about this? I think that Trevor Lawrence has a chance to get into this QB1 range. What's weird to me is that fantasy drafters and redraft right now are looking at the quarterbacks 1 through 5 and they're pushing them way up draft boards. But 6, 7, 8 right now is Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Justin Herbert. I think that they all have just as good a shot to be a top 3 quarterback as being quarterback 9, 10, 11. So redrafters, take those guys.
Yeah. Yep.
For sure.
All right. Let's keep it moving. Evan, you got one more spicy hot take, man. Make it count.
Yeah, so I'm not quite sure how spicy hot this is, but I like the Texans to be over 6.5 wins. And they're projected to be the second overall pick. So everybody thinks that they're going to be a bad team. And I think they improve with the head coaching change. I think they improve with being able to get Will Anderson. They improve with being able to have a rookie quarterback. I know Mike hates rookie quarterbacks, but I very much think that the Texans play in one of the worst divisions in all of football. And if we want to get even spicier, I'll go ahead and say that they will have the second best record in that division.
Colts, no, not Jaguars being number 1.
Yeah, Jaguars being number 1,
Yeah.
Texans being number 2, Titans being number 3, and Colts
And
being dead last.
Is that with 7 wins?
Yes.
Yeah.
That backs up my Jags winning the AFC. Thank you.
It does. Yeah. Yeah, you got that going for you. Okay.
Let me just pull up the Texans schedule real quick.
Look, before I got super hooked on Anthony Richardson after watching way too much of his tape and just obsessing over his analytics, I was CJ Stroud QB1 like way back when, way back when, pre-draft. I still really like CJ Stroud. I think that he can elevate the team. I think it's possible. So I don't hate the take. I think it's a kind of an uphill battle. I mean, like Mike will back me up. It's going to be tough. It's possible, though. Will Anderson is a great piece, and now they have CJ Stroud at the helm. Wide receivers seem lackluster, but maybe. Do you think that they make the damage? Like, are they squeezing these wins out with like defensive play? Like you're thinking like a DeMeco Ryans kind of situation, kind of elevates the defense?
Yeah, I think it's 100% defensive play. I think Anderson gets pressure on the quarterbacks, and Stingley Jr. is just an absolute monster and takes the next step as the corner for them, the clear corner one.
So I just ran through their schedule real quick. Just from the top, I'm going to go through all of the wins that are possible. They play the Colts twice. They play the Falcons. They play the Saints, the Panthers, the Buccaneers. They play the Cardinals. Maybe they steal one against the Jags, the Broncos if they implode. They play the Titans again twice. And they play the Browns, which that's a win. So this could be a 10-win team by accident. If they're just medium. If they're just medium. Which I didn't think I was going to say when I came on the pod today. I love it. That's a great take.
Okay. I like it. All right. Let's get to Mike's third and last spicy hot Reaper pepper take. Let's go.
I would like to play a game with you guys.
Would you like?
I
to
have
play
the
a game?
ADP of everybody from ESPN's live ADP. And we're just going to play a game of smash or pass. Smash if you'll draft them, pass if you won't. Okay?
Smash. Oh.
Shoot.
Cool.
Oh, sorry.
Smash. Kenny Pickett, quarterback 19.
Smash.
Smash.
Deontay Johnson,
Redraft.
Wait.
redraft.
Redraft. Smash.
Still smash.
Smash.
Pass.
Evan, you're muted. Deontay Johnson, wide receiver 27.
Ooh,
Pass.
right on the money. Pass.
Eric, if you're in on Pickett, you got to be in on Deontay.
I'm more on Pickens.
Smash. Pickens, wide receiver 31 after Deontay.
Smash.
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 Pass.
Pat Freiermuth.
Overrated.
Tight end 9.
Smash.
Pass.
Smash.
He was the tight end 8 last year.
Pass. Nobody cares about
Not-
tight ends.
Najee Harris, RB12. Or if you don't like Najee Harris, Jalen Warren, RB47.
I don't care about
Smash.
Ready?
Smash.
My spicy hot, definitely not a homer pick. That's why I didn't wear my Steelers jersey
Oh,
tonight.
is
for the
this a
first time on the
Steelers
pod.
pick? You
The
can't do this,
Steelers-
Mike.
I'm recording this. I'm screenshotting this. Every single player that I just listed beats their ADP this year. Because the best way to win in fantasy football is to find an ascending offense. I have found that rookie quarterbacks tank their offense. And then if that quarterback improves the next year, every single player is a value. Look at the Jags last year. Everyone was like, man, I'm out on this. Christian Kirk sucks. Christian Kirk finishes a top 12 wide receiver.
I never said that. I never said Christian Kirk.
Zay Jones finishes the wide receiver like 27.
I've never said Zay Jones sucks.
Last year, I bet you
Zay
did.
Jones.
I bet
No,
everybody said I want nothing to do with the Jags offense.
Nope. I was always in on Zay Jones.
You heard it here first. I just think that these are, people were burned last year by the Steelers offense, rightfully so. Now they're out. And while everyone else is out, I'm in. The Steelers offense, every single piece beats their ADP. Screw it. Darnell Washington's going as the tight end like 36. Smash.
Smash. Okay. I just like saying smash. I like it. No, I get what you're saying. I mean, if you believe that the offense will take a step forward via Kenny Pickett taking a step forward, then logically speaking, everyone should take a step forward. It
Rising
makes sense to me.
tide rises all ships.
I'm
Yeah,
with you.
The
on-
Steelers' yellow tide.
I am with you on every single one of those players except Deontay Johnson. I am pretty down on Deontay Johnson.
I'm also I have Deontay Johnson fatigue. I'm almost kind of sick of it. Like
He
every
finished as
year-
a wide receiver 30 last year and didn't catch a single touchdown.
Yeah, exactly. He didn't catch a
Give
single-
him 2 touchdowns. He's in the top 27 wide receivers.
I've been hoping for Deontay Johnson, like wide receiver 2. It just feels like for too long.
You said
He's
he
the only
was,
one that I'm like, I'm just fatigued. I'm tired.
You said he was wide receiver 27, right?
Yes.
I hope he's sitting at wide receiver 28 and drops a touchdown pass at the end of the season to finish wide receiver 20.
I will
That's
cry
weird.
for many reasons. I
Eric,
have
it's weird.
another take if you guys don't like the Steelers homer pick, but I can save that.
I like it, but if you want to double up and give another one, it'd be
I'm going
like,
to give one to Corey real quick and also plug, hey, check out the comment in the description. Pete Carroll ruined my fantasy team. I think Zach Charbonnet is going to outscore Kenneth Walker this year in total fantasy points.
okay, how do I kick you from the
So pass
kick from the
catcher.
studio?
This is in PP. This is in full.
Oh, I can
PPR.
ban you from the studio.
Oh, never welcome back. Full PPR. He catches passes. He runs in touchdowns. He's got me hot and bothered. He was my RB2 coming out of the draft. He just went to the worst landing spot possible. Like, Pete Carroll is unpredictable and silly, and Zach Charbonnet does the right things and has every right to be on the field every play. So I think he does it.
No, but I appreciate your gusto.
I have one more thing for that too. Soft tissue injuries in the preseason do not bode well for the player moving into the season. Lower extremity especially. So when you're looking at a groin injury in the preseason that we haven't seen Kenneth Walker play, there's a very good chance that they just put him on ice, they rest him, he's on a pitch count. Any of those things can happen, and now we're looking at Zach Charbonnet. So
Yeah, that's why DJ Dallas will be RB1.
I would scream.
Yeah, I mean, I like Zach Charbonnet too. The problem I see is that Ken Walker, injuries aside, pitch count aside, I just think he's like clearly the more talented guy, like the more explosive guy. And I think he just, again, injury aside, I think he has that like touchdown, like 80-yard run upside every single time he's on the field. So yeah, it's tough, right? Because I have to like Zach Charbonnet, and I do like him, but I have to like him even more because he's a Seahawk. I like all of our RBs, but they're all getting hurt, and it's tough. I'm obviously like a huge Kenneth Walker guy. But yeah, I feel you. I had a take about Kenneth Walker on here, but I don't want to be a homer. I don't want to do it. I'm gonna do something else because I put some extra takes on here, and just having you give a Seahawks take, I think I'm gonna pivot. I actually have two, and because you gave two, I think I'm gonna give two, and we have a little bit of time, so I'm gonna do it. My first take that I think is maybe the less spicy of the two that I have going here. But my first one is that I don't think any of the rookie wide receivers this year will eclipse 800 yards. I think they will all be under 800 yards in receiving yards. Every single one of them. Jackson Smith-Njigba would have been my only guy that I'm like, I could see it. I could see more than 800. Now that he has a broken wrist, it's sketching me out a little bit. And I think even that was going to be difficult to do. I don't think any of these guys eclipses it. I think there are myriad reasons why not for each guy. And I can go through them all. We don't have a lot of time left. So I'm going to leave it with that. And if you guys have specific questions about that, I'm happy to answer them. But I think every single one of these guys is going to be fine, but not great.
Speed run through the top three.
So, I mean, Jackson Smith, I think that he's great, but he's a rookie and has DK and Tyler Lockett still ahead of him. Broken wrist doesn't help his case any. I think that he'll be a little bit on the mend dealing with that injury. Zay Flowers, I love him. He is one of my favorite rookie wide receivers, favorite rookies, honestly, in this whole draft. But he's on the Ravens. And I think that Odell is going to command the targets there. I still think that Bateman is alive, unfortunately. I think they'll give him looks. I don't like him, but I think he's on the team, and they'll still give him looks. I think it's like sneaky crowded in Baltimore. So I don't like Zay Flowers getting over 800. And then Quentin Johnston is Josh Doxson. So moving on to my my extra spicy. Do you need more evidence of that? I mean, he's Josh Doxson. Like, he's pretty much the same guy. He's not going to eclipse 800. He never will in his career. Is that spicy?
I have no words.
All right. Getting into my secret last spicy take, though. And this one will be what we... I like that quote that you put in there. This one will be the one we go out on. I have said it, and I will continue to say it. You can claim my Hawks bias all you want. It has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with what I have seen out of Russell Wilson after he, honestly, was still on the Hawks. His last year with the Hawks, his first year with the Broncos, what I have seen out of his last 2 years, I think he is done. I think he is done and dusted. I think that week 5, 6 on a Sean Payton offense, if they go 1-5, 2-4, I think you're going to be looking at Jared Stidham as the Broncos QB1.
That's spicy, but I mean,
I can get spicier.
Is there a good track record for 30-something-year-old quarterbacks who are coming off of a bad season? There's not a lot of bounce back opportunity at, signing up for AARP.
I can get spicier.
Get spicier. We got 30 seconds.
I think that the Seattle Sea Dragons QB legend, Ben DiNucci, will be the QB1 for the Denver Broncos, Week 7. Book it.
So everybody, the ones that we actually brought to the show, we will be doing a shot at the sloppy cast for the end of the football season if we got them wrong. So be sure to book them.
Oh, I forgot about that. Oh no. Oh wait, hold on.
And now Ben DiNucci is going to get Corey royally messed up. So
Correct.
Anybody have any saved rounds, funny takes, or something else they want to bring up? Eric, what you got?
I'll take a shot of
I would
Everclear
like
for that
to
one.
Point out to Corey that I have 245 million reasons why that is very wrong. But I will also water bet you right now, Corey, right here on the spot. When we hit Week 6, the Broncos will have a better record than the Jets.
Oh, dude. Let's make it a Everclear bet.
Done.
Handshake.
A Buffalo Trace bet.
Ooh, that's a better one.
Sponsored by Buffalo Trace.
Use code FFRPG at checkout.
I wish.
One of these days.
All right. Well, that does conclude our podcast for the day. Appreciate anyone who stopped by and check it out. And we will keep the live streams a rolling. I think it's a fun format. Definitely keeps me on my toes for having to moderate things. And I think it brings out the best in all of us.
Except Corey's last year.
Oh, I didn't. Sorry, I didn't hear you there, Eric. We're out of time. Thank you for checking us out, everyone, and have a great night. Goodbye.
Wow.